And now it's time to grab our passports and head out to Barcelona, Spain.
It's 8 o'clock and the streets of Barcelona are mobbed. It's a big city, all right, crowded and noisy. Sounds just like my hometown, but a lot more mopeds. Here we are at the Passeig de Gràcia, the main street of the Extension District. Full of trendy shops, lots of pedestrians. Across the street, you can get an idea of some of the fabulous architecture from the modernist period. Some very bizarre buildings.
Located on the Mediterranean, Barcelona was a worldly and wealthy port city. Throughout history, Barcelonians have prided themselves on being avant-garde and cosmopolitan. From the narrow streets of the Gothic Quarter to the broad boulevards of the Extension District to the more modern office parks in the suburbs, the architecture is striking and fantastic. The late 1800s were boom times for Barcelona, and the city needed to expand. The Extension, or l'Eixample, district was laid out, and architects went crazy. The modernist era was born, marked by bold experimentation and radical thought. Chief among these radicals was Antoni Gaudí, whose name has become synonymous with Barcelona. La Pedrera was designed and built by Gaudí in 1906. Translated, it means the stone quarry, so named because of its gray stone walls. It was built without any interior supporting columns or straight lines. We'll start our tour in the interior courtyard and then head up to the attic to learn more about Gaudí. We are inside La Pedrera, and from here, as you follow me around, you can see the interior of the architecture. La Pedrera was built without any supporting columns. And here you can see a nice model of the building. Gaudí took his building cues from nature and took his designs from the natural things that he saw around him.
Nature is fond of curves.
And so is Gaudí. The building is quite reminiscent of tortoiseshell. We ascend up to the roof of the building, which is supposed to be quite spectacular. Very bizarre. It looks like something out of Star Wars. It may look bizarre, but it's actually quite functional. The big cross is a water tower, and the helmeted figures are chimneys and plumbing spouts. Much more decorative this way.
Sonido total, sonido en el espacio, sonido total, sonido estereofónico, sonido total, Sonido en el espacio. Sonido total. Sonido estereofónico.
Sonido en el espacio. Silencio en mi cabeza. Rugido intergaláctico. Sonido en el espacio.
And here's our favorite Portuguese couple. And my favorite Portuguese girl. Say hi, Judy.
Hi, baby.
And here's my handsome American stud.
Estamos en la era de la naturaleza. No hay duda.
Sonido en el espacio. Silencio en mi cabeza. Rugido intergaláctico. Sonido en el espacio. Silencio en mi cabeza. Rugido intergaláctico. Sonido en el espacio. Silencio en mi cabeza. Rugido intergaláctico.
From atop La Pedrera, we get a fantastic panoramic view of the old city.
Sonido estereofónico.
In the distance, you can see the art museum and the Olympic fairgrounds.
Sonido estereofónico.
Sonido en el espacio. Sonido en el espacio.
As we pan around, there's the blue waters of the Mediterranean.
Sonido en el espacio.
Silencio en mi cabeza.
Sonido estereofónico.
Sonido.
A recent addition to the Barcelona skyline in 2005 is the Water Company building, colloquially known as the Cigar Building and, less affectionately, the Suppository. And in this direction, Gaudi's masterpiece and obsession, the Church of La Sagrada Familia, which is still unfinished even after a century of work. We'll visit there another day, but for now, we'll just take some great photos. Dad looks hungry. Let's find a place to eat. Costa Gallega was recommended by the tour book. Ironically, the name refers to the coast of Galicia, the part of Spain right above Portugal on the other side of the country. As we walk in, we are greeted by the sight of huge hams hanging over the bar, curing. Called Serrano hams, these are a Spanish tradition. There had to be dozens of them. The darker ones are supposed to be tastier and therefore more expensive. I'm not sure I'd want to have a cocktail with huge ham hocks hanging over my head, but at least they provide a dainty little drip cap to catch the grease. No, don't eat me. I felt kind of sorry for this guy, but I still ate one of his brothers. This time, Judy had the squid, but it was not as good as the Portuguese version. Let's get a good night's sleep because there's mucho sights to see mañana. Buenas noches. The Barcelona tourist bus goes all around the city, so let's make like tourists and hop on.
Taking a cruise on the Barcelona tourist bus through the Eixample, the extension part of the city. Very residential. Almost every building has a balcony.
Hey cutie, let's relax and enjoy the ride.
Barcelona. 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 Barcelona, 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 Barcelona.
The bus stops at a red light in front of a local fish store. As I lean over to take the picture, the owners spot me and come running out, waving their fish and shouting in Catalan. It was too funny.
Here we are on Avenida Diagonal, one of the main thoroughfares and chic shopping districts through the city.
Even in Barcelona, Brooklyn rules. So what if they can't spell it right? Speaking of America, how about that Colonel Sanders? He really gets around. And you can trust the Midas touch. Further down, the Avenida becomes very modern, with steel and glass corporate headquarters and office buildings.
Barcelona, 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 Barcelona.
This winter fair has nothing to do with the estate in Delaware. It's actually a Swiss insurance company. Hey, maybe we could move here and Judy could work there. And I could work here. Donde está el dolor? How tough could it be? Or maybe here, the Hospital of Hope. That sounds like a nice place to work. As the bus winds back into the city, we pass through the Plaza Español. The plaza and the art museum in the background were built for the World Expo 1929. Its opulence and vast scale were meant to showcase the grandeur of Spain's dictator, General Miguel Primo de Rivera. Cruising past the 92 Olympic Fairgrounds and the Telecommunications Tower, it was designed by renowned Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava. We think it's beautiful and graceful. And here's our destination, the waterfront. Time to get off and have a look around. High above the marina, the statue of Christopher Columbus points out to the sea. The monument was built for World Expo 1888. Columbus did not sail from Barcelona, but he did make a triumphant visit in 1493 to meet with the King and Queen after his return. Judy wants you all to know that Columbus learned his maritime skills at the Portuguese School for Navigators. Here he poses with another famous Portuguese explorer who crossed the ocean to the New World. Poor Chris. He thought he had found the way to India, but he went the wrong way and the Portuguese beat him. Of course, he did discover the Bahamas and most of the Caribbean islands, and for that we are grateful. Although initially the weather appeared threatening, when we got to the waterfront it turned into a crystal perfect day. We had no idea what the Mare Magnum was, but since the bathrooms were inside, we decided to go in. Love the mirrors. If you look real closely, you can see Judy taking the picture. And it turns out the Mare Magnum is a shopping mall. Cool, let's check out the foreign stores. Claire's. Claire's? Ben and Jerry's? Natives of America? Oh, those natives. Nice things, nice day. They must have nice stuff. Football Club de Barcelona. We know how crazy those Europeans are for their football. Slam, Advanced Technology Sportswear. Red is this year's color. And finally, Ix for men and women. With a name like Ick, you gotta want it. Okay, let's get out and hit the streets of old Barcelona.
Okay, here we are at the foot of Las Ramblas. As you can see, it's mucho turistico. This is the main drag, so to speak. Used to be a river. Now it goes all the way through Barcelona, and it's full of shopping, eating, a place to see and be seen.
And here we are in the Plaza Real. This dates from the 1850s. The ornamentations are from Gaudi, the lampposts in particular. It's very spacious, Mediterranean looking with the palm trees. Very peaceful. A good place for people to gather and enjoy the afternoon.
Now that looks like Spain, doesn't it?
This crowd's looking hungry. I think it's time to break for lunch. Those may be chickens roasting in the window, but the sign says Los Caracoles, the snails, and that's what we came for. Established in 1835, much of it is unchanged, and it is authentic. Giant cloves of garlic hang from the walls, huge kegs of wine line the shelves, and hams hang overhead. It's like stepping into the Middle Ages. You walk through the kitchen to get to your table. We could watch the chefs at work from our seat. Snails are the motif and the specialty of the house. Even the breads are shaped like snails. And here they are. Judy and her dad are the big snailophiles. I'm not crazy about them, but I can eat them. These snails were cooked in a meat sauce, and I thought they were actually quite tasty. Judy prefers her snails au naturel, with olive oil and garlic. Yoo-hoo, Mr. Snaily, time to come out. I can't believe I'm doing this. Meanwhile, Judy is in snail heaven. For the main course, Judy's mom had the rotisserie chicken, and yes, you get fries with that. Dad had the seafood paella, but complained that the dark sauce was too salty. Judy had the grilled rabbit, the other white meat. She said it was delicious. I had the grilled whole flounder. It was excellent. Here he is before and after I got done with him. Overall, a very satisfying meal. Now I know how this guy felt back in 1835. After lunch, a walk through Old City Barcelona, the Gothic Quarter. The streets are narrow and medieval. This store specializes in handmade custom espadrilles since the 1940s. Celebrities, royalty, and even the Pope have been their patrons. Surprisingly, it's a no-frills kind of place. More workshop than shoe shop. Judy really liked this blue pair, but they didn't have her size. Too bad, because she really doesn't have enough shoes. Also in the Old City is the Government Plaza, which includes City Hall and the regional Catalonian state government. The alleyway is especially cool. Patron saint of Barcelona, St. George, still slaying that dragon. Wandering the streets, we chance upon the Plaza de George Orwell. It's a seedy kind of triangle dominated by a weird surrealistic statue and covered with graffiti. I was curious why the British author of 1984 and Animal Farm would have his own plaza in Barcelona. It turns out Orwell was a committed anti-fascist and came to Barcelona as a journalist in the 1930s to cover the Spanish Civil War. He went so far as to enlist in the Socialist Army and fight against Franco's troops. Unfortunately, he was wounded and his side lost, but he chronicled the events in a book called Homage to Catalunya. 40 years later, the Catalonians paid him back. After a long day, it's back to the hotel to rest our weary feet and then out for a quick evening meal. La Rita restaurant is popular with tourists and Barcelonians. It doesn't open until 8:30 and you've got to start lining up at least 40 minutes early to get a seat. We had crispy deep-fried baby squid. The babies are the tastiest. And chicken croquettes with crusty bread and jam. Let's get a good night's sleep because tomorrow, road trip!